afternoon, everybody. I'm not accustomed to saying afternoon, but it is. It's been a crazy day. I was anticipating doing none of my normal schedule today, and then things shifted, and then things shifted again. Uh, the weather is not the greatest today for the porch party event that was happening at one of my quilt shops. So I was like, I want to go there as early as I can in order to see if I can get outdoor pictures. They didn't get much stuff outside, so it's like I could have done afterwards, but I already had things scheduled, so it's just like whatever. I'm going to try to shift things. So I went to Saturday Sampler first thing in the morning so I can do show and tell. I do not want to go to First Saturday ever again. I know I'm going to have to because it was so crowded. And there was a lot of show and tell. In fact, one idiot had 3 things that they were showing and telling. That was me. Then I went up to the other quilt shop and we did the porch party. I met up with my friend Candace. And yeah, there was a lot of gorgeous quilts. I snapped pictures. I will try to get those put together for later this week. And then we had breakfast because breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and I would have been hangry soon. We initially were going to plan on like later stuff, but like I said, the weather just pushed things ahead. And I had initially scheduled the live for 3, so you weren't crazy when you saw things at 3 o'clock for a little bit. And then I was like, I need to get some other cutting done for later today. And I was like, I've got time now. Let me just do my live now. Let's chit chat and catch up with everybody that I can. I know when I adjust hours, or when anybody adjusts hours, you may or may not get people who have time to come in. So if I'm catching you on the replay, hi replay! In the chit chat so far, we have my friend Stephanie who says good afternoon. And we have Jeannie. I think I got all the clues except for clue 10 done, and clue 10 is sewing them together. But I decided, I'm going to start working on some other ones just because I need to get those done. Because these are last year's cotton cuts. And if I'm on clue 3, that means I'm way last. In fact, it may be actually be about a year ago that this clue would be out here. Either way, I need to get these clues done just so that I can get things done. I'm trying to. My goal is to get some things done, although I've bought more things. We won't discuss what I purchased today. You might see it Wednesday. So, Cotton Cuts Clue 3 for Tree of Life, if you remember from a long time ago, is this. It's a simple clue, so I'm actually going to be shuffling between the two. So if anybody is as far behind as me and you see things going on crazy, that's really what's happening is I'm switching things around and shifting. Good morning, Lydia. She also says she has 2 quilts to finish and 5 lap memory quilts to create. That's a lot. I did 3 graduation quilt show and tells today at the local quilt shop. And yeah, I was just 3 quilts are heavy. And then, when you have to refold them up together, it's I don't know how I managed to get through it. Stephanie's asking what I got. I'll just say it's a fat quarter bundle. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, let me see if I can get switched over. Lydia's needing some inspiration to get moving. Rah, rah, shish, boom, bah. I hope sewing with me gives you some inspiration, Lydia. So I don't remember what the colors were called. But I've started some, and like I said, I'm going to be swapping back and forth between the two colorways. The one that's underneath the needle now was from a is for a coworker of mine. Uh, she she's like, I want a quilt. And I was like, if you buy this because it's pre-cut, I'm more inclined to sew it for you. We see how current I am. And then this one, the fabrics I know are Juicy Juice, and this one's for me. The problem with pre-cut or die cut is sometimes they don't line up exactly. I'm just taking it as, it's a slightly dull blade or something. Stephanie says those were big quilts. Yes, and then there was a third Stephanie because the one for my cousin's son's graduation, I managed to get finished on my long arm since it's small enough for my long arm. And everybody was asking, who does my long arming? And I was like, well, the smaller quilt, smaller because it was twin size, I did. And the bigger quilts, I said my friend Stephanie did because she's awesome. Good afternoon, Carl. I don't think Carl normally gets to catch my lives because I think he's usually working at this. I'm sorry, at my normal lifetime. But I was excited to, have 3 show and tells. And I had so many people asking me, what is the pattern for the queen size ones? And that one I told them was, and I have to think and remember every single time that it is Star Power from Cozy Quilt Designs. Trying to remember things. I did not sleep well last night for some reason, so my brain is running a little bit slower. Plus, everybody that was at Saturday Sampler this morning. I'm not accustomed to that large of a hustle bustle. Which is why I normally go third Saturday. And the owner, she mouthed to me, "What are you doing here?" And I was like, "I'm not going to be here for third Saturday." "Why?" And then I pointed to my pile of show and tell. I was like, "Graduations." So it was still a good day. And then the porch party was a lot of fun. There was some gorgeous quilts out there. And they just had them hanging throughout the shop. And I was like, after I got through most of the shop, I was like, okay, I haven't seen my quilt. Where is it? And they, it was at that time, as I was saying that in my head, they had told me that they put my quilt in the bathroom. And I was like, yes! Mostly because my sister and I have a running gag of a toilet for many, many years. I'm like, yeah, bathroom's the perfect place. Carl says that 301 is dried out and getting ready for paint. This time going with hammered copper and hammered black. That sounds fun. I don't know what 301 is, but I need to start catching up on some of the simpler projects and then some of the stuff that I can finish because it's already in there. You're saying Fran is pretty funny. Yes, she is. Although I think she's gonna kill me because something her singing card that she got for her birthday is still singing as of last night. I don't know what kind of batteries they put in it, but she sent me a video text last night saying it's still singing. Ah, Carl says the 301 is the featherweight's big sister. Okay. Okay, now let's see. Iron should be turned on. I'm going to break these up into smaller pieces. So yeah, Fran, she I gave her stuff in a big box, and she got a card, and it sang and continued to sing and continued to sing. So she put it in her freezer because that's the most soundproofing thing. Little disappointed because on the back it said, you know, if you open it, you're going to get glitter bombed, which I did not see. Otherwise, I would have covered it up somehow. And yeah, she texted me. Let's see, her birthday was Tuesday. I think it was Wednesday afternoon. She said it's still singing. And then Thursday, I got something that says it was singing again. And then last night, she sent me another video saying it's still singing. Now, it would stop. It's not like it was singing the entire time. It would stop at certain points in the singing and be like it's done, and then start singing again. Now the question is, will it be singing in a week and a half when I get up there? I could just imagine if it's still singing then. Although the birthday card I really wanted to give her still hasn't shown up. And I think I looked at my Amazon account Thursday, and it said if it hasn't shown up by today, that I can ask for a refund. So I'll be logging into the Amazons saying, hey, I want a refund. So, what is everybody else up to today? Anything exciting happening? I know that after this, I need to finish cutting dragon fruit. That's a fat quarter shop block of the month with some tulip pink fabric that I'm doing over on my friend Stephanie Stitch's channel. I have a really bad joke that I am going to be telling in there, but only like 4 people will get it, so it's worth it. Lydia is going to catch the rest on replay because she's got to go to the dump before the rain. Yeah, the rain has been going on here. It's a good thing, though. It just means we want to be in our sewing rooms sewing. Stephanie says she's looking forward to sewing with friends. It is always fun when we can sew with people. I'm glad clue 3 was an easy clue for me to get back into because there was very little thinking. I hadn't done cotton cuts in a minute, and I was almost like, am I going to remember what to do? I mean, I know it's just sewing, but the instructions they give us are in black and white, and we have to have our color charts, which I could not find my color chart. So I had to print out the color chart and identify which one was each color, because one of the previous months had used all the colors, so I was able to figure out which color was which. But this is probably what I'm going to do for the next little bit of Saturday Sampler, not Saturday Sampler, my 11sies, is to try to do some catch up on some of these clues. Some I will probably be working on with my lives, and some I will be working on my own. And we will figure out how to get, like I said, these done so I can start checking things off my list again. Stephanie says she needs to do this one too. Thanks for reminding. Yeah, I had been forgetting. In fact, Stephanie, I had packed it for the retreat, because if you remember the previous retreat, I did an entire cotton cuts quilt in like 2 days at your retreat. So I was hoping that I would be able to get working on some of this one at the retreat, but alas, working on Fran's quilt took up basically all my time. that I had sewing there. Let's see. And that pile goes here. And this pile goes here. These are gorgeous colors. I just like how bright they are. Because if anybody knows me, they know I like brights. And when we were opening up gifts on Zoom, my sister made a comment at how long my hair has gotten. And I'm like, yes, I am loving it and hating it at the same time. So it's like days that it wants to cooperate, I'm like, yes. And then days that it doesn't want to cooperate, I'm like, can I just shave it off? I would never do that. I don't have the bone structure for a bald head. Although if I was bald, I can just, put a layer of purple paint on my head and that would work just as well. That is going to be one thing that I am going to work on next weekend. Because next weekend in the morning I'm doing my live, and then after that I am taking all 3 of my machines to have what they call boarding, because I'm going to be out of town for almost 2 weeks. And if I'm not using them, it's a perfect time for them to go get serviced. So I'm dropping them off on Saturday, which means Sunday is going to be a combination of Russ is starting to get things packed for the trip, and I'm going to be spending some time in here trying to pile up the projects that it's going to be a combination of, okay, these are started and need to be done, so projects that would have been similar to this one, and then a pile of These have not been started and need to be started so I can prioritize them. And the priority is going to be anything that's in progress, I want to get finished. And then anything that needs to start, I will prioritize those. Now, I do have a couple things that are planning on starting. So those are allowed to be started before anything else. But anything that is in progress, I want to start getting done. Then I also need to get a list of what needs to be long-armed, which that pile just keeps growing by the week, it seems. And start prioritizing trying to get those done. And I can see the shop owner. Why do you have 7 show and tells? Because 7 things came off the long arm this week. It doesn't matter if you have 1 show and tell or 7 show and tells. You only get 1. They offer a free fat quarter for doing show and tell. And I'll be honest, I've never cashed in that free fat quarter because I'm like, it's a small business. That's a $4 sale that they could make on somebody else. Okay, so these are the bottom row. So line these up. And then this is the second row. And then this one is the top row. And I can start putting these together. And yesterday when I picked up Riley from daycare, she she was slacking. She was laying down. Like they were all laying down. Like they had a rough, long day at daycare. And I was like, I do not pay for you to be laying down. You're supposed to be running around all day at daycare. But she was a little worn out. And I'm loving, like I said, how quick and easy these are going to go together. If I don't run out of bobbin. Because I'm looking down there, I'm probably going to run out of bobbin at some point soon. Okay, that's the bottom row of that one. And the top row. And I am wearing my Shenanigans shirt today. And a couple people made comments, and I was like, yeah, you know, if you let a man shenan once, he'll shenan again. Which is the stupidest, funniest joke I've heard in a while, so I'm milking that one for all it's worth. Yeah. Question is, did I make... Nope, I did not make it through the seam. I told you I was going to run out of thread. Except my machine said it's almost empty when it was totally empty. I think the sensor might need to be cleaned. But at least I know I'm going to have a fresh bobbin for this evening. Come on. They're good as new. So let me start back here. There we go. There we go. And these, the directions say to press that way. am putting the already pieced ones on top because that's the point that allows me to, or that's where my point is, so I can help control whether or not I lose it. And hopefully I don't. Also, next Sunday I need to record a video, at least one, to be released while I'm up in Massachusetts, because I don't know how much time I'm going to have to actually do videos. I'm going to try to get my sister to go live with me on one of the 2 Saturdays that I'm up there. The second Saturday I know she's not, because that's her graduation / Memorial Day party. Which I'm also debating, do I give her her graduation quilt the day she graduates? Or do I make her wait until her graduation party? I'm almost thinking graduation party, because her bestie is getting a quilt at the same time, and that's going to be the day that I will know I will see her, because it's their graduation party. And then I'm hoping that the third recipient, which is my cousin's son, that family is going to be able to make it to the graduation party as well. So I can give all 3 at one time. I think that would be fun, just to be able to say, okay, I'm gifting 3 quilts right now, everybody needs to watch. And then respond with, no, I will not make a quilt for you. And this is definitely what makes pre-cuts so awesome. And by pre-cut, I mean the individual pieces pre-cut, not like a charm pack or something, because I will about to have completed 2 Clue 3s in about an hour. And I say about an hour because I started sewing like an hour ago. I got the first pieces done before the live started. So now these are the small cotton cuts, which have fewer pieces. most of their stuff, like even if you get the large, it doesn't take that much more than an hour to get it done. But unless you are putting it in your whole list of I need to get this sewn now, you end up falling behind on it like I did and trying to figure out a good time to catch up. And like I said, year and a half ago, I did a entire Cotton Cuts Puzzle Mystery Quilt at a retreat in 2 days. It was a little exhausting, but fun to get done. And then, yeah, I've got a handful of, well, I have 2 that I need to finish. I've got all the individual clues done. I just need time to get them put together. And then I have these that need to get done. Which has been a lot of what has been keeping me from, going and buying another Cotton Cuts quilt. It's like I love the fabrics, but they do tend to look a lot alike. No offense on them, because, it helps you, if you see the fabrics, you're like, okay, I like the fabrics, and then these are past designs, then you know what you're going to get, approximately. But in my mind, it's like, okay, I want something new. I want to try new techniques, new adventures, which is why I've been enjoying the dragon fruit so long, which is why I'm excited about some of the other future sew-alongs. But I have 2 sets of Clue 2s done. This is the Juicy Juice colorway, which it's kind of a little washed out on there. I got to get my color balancing on my camera right. I think my camera is just upset because it thinks I have white walls and not blue walls. And then this is the other colorway, which blues tend to show up a lot better than the brights. Oh wait, I'm sorry. They go this way. And this way. I think I showed it that way. So I'm going to go put these in their boxes to go there. Next week I will probably be doing Clue 4 of Tree of Life. I may be doing one. I may do both at the same time. It just depends on what Clue 4 looks like, because I haven't looked at Clue 4 yet. And I'm going to start figuring out how to get there. And then, next week in the afternoon, I got to drop off my machines, which means sometime this week I got to get the machines packed up and then get this one about ready to be packed up to go and get everything dropped off. They're going to be looking at me funny because I'll be bringing in 3 machines. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in the smallest first, then this one, which is the medium size, then the big embroidery machine. Just so that I'm bringing in bigger and bigger cases. They've all got rolly cases, so that'll be fun. But I think I'm going to cut this one a couple minutes short. Like I said, I have to get fabrics cut for this evening over on my friend Stephanie's channel. I will be live on her channel at 5:00 p.m. Eastern. And we will be sewing up month 7 of Dragon Fruit, which means I got to go upstairs and get my foundations because I haven't brought that size down here yet. It's a lot of fun. I'm actually going to do a block that I've never made before. And I had to watch the Fat Quarter Shop video today just to make sure I knew how to do it right. So I hope you can join us there. Check out all the other YouTubers that are out throughout the weekend. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.